It's been a minute. It's been a minute. As you guys know, I'm a life coach, entrepreneur, always talking about wealth and all that good stuff. Today I decided to appreciate all the love, first and foremost, to everybody that's commenting. You guys know my background is investing in real estate, investing in stocks, selling businesses, and really just teaching you guys my experiences when it comes to making money. Pilar, what's going on? Before we begin, just always remember, people, for a lot of you that's trying to figure out what's your next stage in life, how do you grow in life financially, every last Sunday for $99, you could always subscribe and come learn something new. A lot of you are always trying to figure out what's your next step to life, people. If you don't invest into yourself, you're not going to see growth, okay? So I created something called the Millionaire Mindset. Shout out to everybody that comes out every single month. If you're not local, you could always just watch it via webinar. It's right on my website, mentorme.com. Click the subscribe button. It's $99 every single month. We're teaching you guys something new. This month, we're actually going to be talking about tax deed auctions. How does it work? Step by step, showing you guys how to buy properties and how to buy land at tax deed auctions. It just so happened that today I'm going to be talking about land, because one of the things that I see a lot of us are having a problem with when it comes to investing, nobody really teaches us the how-to about a lot of things and why. A lot of people tell you jump into real estate, but why should I jump into real estate? Because one, yes, we get it. You're going to make money. But two, you guys got to also understand too, there's actually a process that goes with everything. As you guys know, when we talk about real estate is broken up into two pieces: land, and of course, the building itself, the structure itself. Today, we're going to focus on the land itself. A lot of you don't know that you can make a lot of money a year. You can make 6 figures. You can make 7 figures a year selling land. And you also can make 6 or 7 figures a year building on that land. It's really up to you, and based on where you buy your land and what price you bought it for, and how much capital you have, or how much leverage you have, and how much understanding you have in the world of land. Because you guys got to understand, there's land that I bought, let's say 8 years ago, for $1,200 a quarter. Think of it like this as a dollar, right? A dollar has 4 quarters? Just like land, every quarter you could possibly build a house. Sometimes you could even build a duplex on every quarter if you're talking residential. But a lot of you don't understand that it's not just about what type of land you have. You got to ask yourself a real question. Are you really willing to buy and invest and hold long term? Because again, some of the land that I bought for $1,200, we're talking $1,200 I paid for land, a quarter acre, which pretty much really is like 0.23. People have called me and said, would you like to sell it for $50,000? And imagine, I have 7 to 8 pieces, and I only bought it for $1,200, $2,200, some of them, $1,800, some of them. And people are calling me, offering me $50,000, $40,000, $30,000, $25,000 for something that I paid $1,200, $2,200 for. A lot of you need to understand that land is the value of everything. No matter what building, apartment, plaza that you see of real estate, what does it sit on? It sits on land. And this is important for a lot of you, because a lot of you just think that when it comes to real estate, your money will always only be in flipping real estate. There's a lot of money in just flipping land. There's a lot of money in investing into land. And we're going to talk about that today, because a lot of you understand there's also a lot of money into renting land. So people that build on that land, they're going to pay you for life. And we're going to talk about that. That's called a ground lease. People, today we're talking about land. We're talking about an asset that a lot of you should start investing into in the world of real estate, because there's a lot of money in that world. And in order for you to financially win, you got to understand the value of it. And if you don't understand the value of it, you're not going to really understand the value of winning in the world of real estate. Let's first talk about it, okay? When we talk about land, we got to ask ourselves a question. Are we buying residential? Or are we buying commercial? Meaning, are you going to eventually put a house or a duplex on it? Or are you even going to put a building on it? For some reason, a lot of you don't take time to understand that main difference right there. Number two, these are things I want you guys to understand as you're going as a beginner investor into land. What kind of water is that home going to be utilizing? Is the home going to be utilizing what we call septic, or is it going to be using what we call city? It makes a difference because you guys got to understand when you're dealing with city water, land is more valuable with city water. When we're talking septic, the problem is you're still dealing with wells. You're still dealing with the old-fashioned water system of how water gets, of course, purified in a home, or how water gets, of course, transferred throughout a home. A lot of people don't take time to understand if you're going to be buying land, if it's going to be residential or commercial, it's preferred you hope that it has city water attached to it already. That tells you a lot, because that tells you also there's development there, or there's development soon coming, because that's very important while we talk about development. Don't ever just buy land somewhere and you don't believe that people are going to be living here anytime soon. You got to have a reason why you're buying this land. Okay, you bought land. I get it. Question 2, is it residential? Is it commercial? Question 3, what kind of water does it use? Septic or city? People, these things are very important, because you could end up buying land that has no value and you spent a lot of money for it if you don't understand what you're buying. So my thing is, I'm not only going to tell you things to look out for when you're buying land, I'm also going to tell you how you can make money with land. There's an auction coming up, and this is one of the ways you could buy land. People, I want you guys to understand, when I'm giving you guys game, I'm giving you guys the honest truth. A lot of you don't realize that when it comes to buying land, something that's very important too is if it's on the MLS, meaning it's already online showing that it's for sale, that's not a deal. That's wholesale. I mean, that's retail, sorry. You're looking for wholesale land that people don't want anymore. You're looking for land that's just maybe in certain cities, tertiary markets that people have a lot of and that you can get for cheap that people soon want to build their home on. You're looking for something you can add value to. Because a lot of you, you'll go on Zillow or you go call a realtor and they're selling you a piece of land that's already on the MLS system. What that tells you is, at the end of the day, that's retail. That's not a deal. You want land that's at a discount. And how do you get land at a discount? 1, tax deed auctions. A lot of you don't realize that if a person don't pay their property taxes, which is a superior lien over everything, you could actually buy their home or buy the land, whatever it is that you're trying to buy, for the balance that the county wants to, of course, sell it to you at. And a lot of you don't understand how valuable that is. A person could have had $20,000 worth of tax deed non-payment taxes. And here's what's beautiful. Give me 1 second. I guess my connection on my left side. 1 second, my connection here. All right, we are now good. We are now good. Sorry, my connection was acting up. 1 second. Let me reposition my camera. 1 second. Wow, how did that happen? All right, now we're good. All right, we're much better now. All right, if you got questions or comments, sorry about, I think that was Facebook's side. I lost connection. But today we're talking about land. We're talking also why you should buy land, how to buy land, and how can you make money on land. Because a lot of us are so focused on flipping real estate, I get it. But for beginners, and even if you're not a beginner, even if you're a veteran, it's okay to invest into land. People, land is very profitable. There's land that I bought for $1,200 that people are calling me for $40,000. People, at the end of the day, you got to have a purpose. You got to understand what you're doing. One of the things I talked about is if you're going to be buying land, or you ask yourself or ask the realtor or wherever you're buying the land from, or do your homework, okay, by going to what we call netroonline.com. Every county has what we call an appraisal website where you can see who owns the land. You can also see what type of land is it. You can see also how much acres is it. You could also use Google, take Google Maps and kind of walk through to see if there's any, of course, neighborhoods or development close by. Because you guys got to understand at a certain part of life, real estate has to be a part of your life. A lot of you are trying to say to yourself, I want to retire. It's not always just about buying a house. It's not always just about buying a building. People, think about this for a moment. What does the building sit on? It sits on land. What does a house sit on? It sits on land. What does a plaza sit on? It sits on land. Do you guys know you can make money, you can make 6 figures or 7 figures a year, not just, of course, owning land. People, you could flip land. You could buy land. Example, some of the land I'm buying this Wednesday, I'm trying to buy for $20,000 a piece. And I'm going to be selling them at $55,000, $60,000 a piece. People also, if I wanted, I could keep the land, some of them, and actually build on it. Let's say I bought a land. I'm giving you guys basic math. This is another way of making money on land. Bought a land for, I don't know, $10,000. Built on the land, $200,000. Now you could have leveraged that with a construction loan. Because again, people that build on land, they contact construction lenders, and there's construction loans you can get. If you have a lender, ask them about construction loans, because that's how you build on land. So imagine you bought a piece of land for $10,000. You built the 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $200,000. So now you're all in $210,000. Do you know that you can sell, if it has the ARV, you can sell that house that you built on, the land that you own, $350,000. You do one of those a year. Some of you, it beats your salary 3 times already. People, there's another way you can make money just by having land. And I'm going to tell you right now. Do you know that you could buy land, okay, and you could lease it to the person who wants to build on that land, and you're going to tell them, look, you're going to pay me pretty much forever. Because why? If hypothetically they built a plaza on your land, that means that person, whatever they got going on, that's between them. But guess what? Because they built their plaza on your land, you have to get paid for life because their plaza is on your land. That's called a ground lease. You get paid for the rest of your life as long as that building is on your land. There are so many people that make millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just leasing the land that they own. But a lot of you're so focused on, I want to flip houses. People, that's not the only way you can make money in real estate. We all know there's buy and hold, holding properties, renting them out. But there's a big part that a lot of you are missing. Buying land, either 1, flipping it, either 2, doing a ground lease, renting your land out so somebody else could build on it, or somebody else could probably have a farm on it based on the type of land it is, if it's residential or commercial. A lot of you need to understand there's so much money in buying and investing into land. But if you're going to buy land, like I said before, you got to ask yourself a couple questions. Is it residential? Is it commercial land you're buying? Is there any path of development? Meaning, do you see homes being built in a couple mile radius of the land you're buying? People have become multi-millionaires off of investing into land. And a lot of you have a lot of money or just money sitting in the bank doing nothing. When you could have bought land, people, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I got companies right now ringing off my phone to buy some of the land I have. Ringing off my phone for some of the land I bought in Central Florida, begging me, can I give you $35,000 for each piece that you have? Why do you think I'm buying more this Wednesday? Because at the end of the day, people, the goal of life is investing smart. The goal of life is not working for the rest of your life. The goal of life is learning, of course, how to make your money work for you and not you work for the money. A lot of you're still working hard. You still don't understand the value of investing into real estate. Real estate is not only houses. Real estate is not only buildings. Real estate is also buying land and flipping land, buying it at a low price, selling it at a high price. Sometimes buying land and holding it and renting it out. You can make millions of dollars renting out land if you have the right land. I also want to talk about this too, because we also talked about construction loans, right? Because a lot of you need to understand, If you're that type of person that's going to buy land and build on it, you're going to need a construction loan, because that's the lender that's going to pretty much give you money as you slowly build the process of building on your land. And then eventually you convert it to normal financing. A lot of you don't understand, well, if I'm building on my land, how does that really work? You bought a piece of land, whatever, $2,000. You need a construction loan to build on that land. After it's built, now you need to transfer that to regular financing, because now you want to sell it to a person at retail. Hypothetically, you bought the land, again, $10,000. You built the house for $200,000. Your total investment is $210,000. You sold it for $310,000. You made $100,000. Yes, that is one way of making money on land. Buying land, developing on that land, selling land. There's also the second that I talked about, ground lease. You bought a piece of land. You have a contract with a person, a developer, or a person who owns a property, a landlord. And for the rest of the life of that building being on top of your land, you get paid for life. A lot of you don't know, when it comes to Walmart and a lot of these triple net companies, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies. 90% don't own the building that they're sitting on. 90% don't own the land. Sometimes the land is one company. The building of the person who built it or who owns the building is another. The person who built it is another person. They're just leasing the building. And the person who owns the building is leasing the land. So imagine you have a person who's leasing the land. You have Publix who's leasing the building. And then you have a landlord who's collecting rent payments. That's how beautiful land works. But now I get it. Some of you may not want to hold land because you feel, well, I have to hold it for too long. I don't have patience. A lot of you should just buy land and flip it. You bought land for $10,000, sell it for $40,000, get rid of it. People, at the end of the day, there's so many ways and so many opportunities when it's time to make money in real estate. But your mind has to open to understand the value of it. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in the rat race. Right now, a lot of you, I'm going to keep saying it, you are 10 years behind because you own no real estate. Stop investing into shoes and expensive shirts and watches and things that bring no value, expensive cars. Put your money into real estate, land, building, houses. That's where the money is. People need to start paying you rent. A lot of you are so focused on just keeping money in the bank. People, when was the last time the bank ever gave you $200? When was the last time the bank gave you $200? When was the last time the bank gave you $300? This may sound crazy. Imagine to live in a world, 99% of your life, have your money in an institution, a banking institution, who gives you less than 1% on your money. And a lot of you sit there and let these banks give you nothing. And they complain that you're struggling. And the reason you're struggling is because you don't know what you're doing. Because if you knew what you were doing, your money that's sitting in the bank doing nothing, you would invest it into some type of real estate. And some of you are in states where there's so much wealth, or countries that have so much wealth, but you refuse to put your money in anything that is called investing. You don't like to invest into assets. You don't like to invest into things that put money in your pocket. People, land can make you 6 figures a year. It can make you 7 figures a year. It all depends on how much you want to take time to understand how land works. And it's hard for me to believe that land is hard to understand, because YouTube videos and Google videos and just research yourself can teach you so much about land. Today, I taught you the importance of understanding. If you're going to be buying land, ask yourself a couple questions. One is, how are you going to develop on that land? Are you going to get a construction loan? Are you going to flip the loan? Are you even keeping the land? 2, are people moving to the area where your land is? It's called path of development. 3, what kind of water usage are they using? Is it city? Is it septic? What's better? City. City water, land is always better. Because a lot of you need to start understanding land, investing into land is everything to life. People have become multi-millionaires because they own land. We have grown adults that don't own land, and some of them that do own land, they own land in areas that nobody wants to live at. So now the real question comes about is, who told you to buy that land? How did you, or why did you buy land in a city that you don't understand? Why did you buy land that you're never going to develop on? We're also going to talk about this right now, which is good too. Some of you may say, well, what's another way that I could build on land? We talked about a construction loan. Another valuable asset to having what we call life insurance is if you leave enough so your kids could build on the land. And some of you have these life insurance policies, which is pretty cool, that you could borrow money from. Imagine borrowing money from your life insurance policy and then developing on land a house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You bought it for, I don't know, 10,000. We're going to use basic numbers. You've developed on it for 200,000. You're all in at 210. You sold it hypothetically for 410. You do one deal a year, you just made $200,000. A lot of you don't know that life insurance is another great way to build a lot of wealth for generations to come, or your life right now. I'm going to tell you why and how. Many of you don't realize that when you die, your life insurance policy should be big enough, not just to pay all the debt you have, such as your mortgage, your cars, and any debt you have. But if you have land, you should also accommodate a certain amount of money in your life insurance policy that can help your child build on that land. So many parents in this world today leave kids life insurance policy with not enough money. It's crazy. People, why did you leave your kids, and how do you leave your kids land and die early, but you never left them enough life insurance money so they could build on the land? People, this is why I say there's homework that needs to go about. If you own a piece of land, a quarter piece of land, we're going to say a quarter. There's 4 quarters in an acre. Think of it like that. To build on that land, based on if you're using concrete or wood, could run you anywhere from $100,000 if it's wood. If it's concrete, anywhere from $150,000, $180,000 to $300,000 or more. You died, left a life insurance policy of $50,000. Camille was popping. Pat was popping. People, you got to really start understanding. Today we're talking about why and how should you invest into real estate when we talk about land. Why is land something you should invest into? Millions of Americans are struggling today because why? Their parents probably had life insurance, but didn't leave them enough. Millions of Americans are struggling today. Why? Their parents didn't invest into anything. All they did was work hard all their life. The question is, are you going to change and break the curse? You got to change the circle, people. Because if not, you're going to be going in that same circle your family went through. A lot of Americans that's struggling, that's living check to check, own no homes, own no land, own nothing but debt and excuses and cars and tuition, school debt. People, at the end of the day, you got to start thinking differently. You got to start thinking bigger. You got to start stepping out of the box and looking at life differently. Wealthy people buy land. There's a lot of money in flipping land. There's a lot of money in building on land. There's a lot of money in renting your land. It's called a ground lease. Millions of Americans, millions of wealthy people, they're making money right now just renting their land to people. People, yeah. Some of y'all don't understand how powerful land is. If you look at any building, any house, any plaza, what does it sit on? It sits on land. Just because you own the building, that doesn't mean you own the land. Why do you think it's called a landlord? You are the lord of the land. Usually landlords own the building and the land. But sometimes it's 2 separate people, 2 separate corporations that own the land and the building. But guess who's winning? Both. Because if you own the land, you can lease it to the landlord that owns the building. And if you own the building, you're going to, of course, do what? Rent your units to the tenants that live in the building. Some of you have been renting all your life, and you still don't see what the world is doing to you. Some of you are renting right now while watching my live, and you still don't get it. You're still going to watch people take advantage of you to the day you die by not investing into land. Camille just said facts. Most of them don't have the knowledge, and it's true. We're in a world right now, people, you got to get the education. And that's what I present to you guys. Educate and open up your minds. Land is an asset just as good as the building that the land sits on. You can buy land for cheap. There's certain states that got land for $500. Just do homework. Ask yourself, what kind of water system does it use? What kind of land is it? Could internet come there to that land? Is there satellite? Because you got to think about it. You can't go buy land and there's no satellite. So that means a person, if they built a home, they could never have internet. That makes no sense. Things to ask yourself, is there other people starting to build around the land that you're at? The land that you're buying, you're trying to buy. Are you going, if you want to go deeper, are you going to city meetings, city commerce meetings? Or are you online reading what we call the comprehensive plan of any city, of the city that you're trying to buy the land? You know what a comprehensive plan is? It's just a plan telling you what and where they're going to be building. Where's the next path of development? That's called a comprehensive plan. Every city has it on their database, on their public website. A lot of us are not taught these things. We just sit here and just get taken advantage of and pay rent till the day that we die. People, do you know you could become a multi-millionaire? You could become wealthy by just owning land. But in order for you to start investing into land, first I always recommend before I get off this live is this. Form a corporation. Okay? If you're going to be buying land, buy all the land under your corporation. When a land is undeveloped, that means there's nothing on it. It's very cheap to keep up. If you have a quarter acre, it might run you $200 a year. But again, some of you may say, Bobby, I want to go further. I want to own commercial land. There's nothing wrong with that. Buy commercial land. Because anytime you're buying land, it's all going to tell you what use is it. Is it residential or commercial? It's always important, too, to understand, do your homework. A lot of you need to understand, to take time to understand what type of land are you buying, where are you buying it? Do you plan on flipping it one day, selling it one day? Do you plan on doing a ground lease, which would be more in the commercial world of land? Do you plan on developing? Do you plan on building on that land one day? And if you do, that's why I talked about the importance of having life insurance. Because some of you don't understand, if you're going to be building on land, there's really a couple ways. One is getting a construction loan. If you're alive, right? Calling construction lenders to give you a construction loan and understanding the process of how that works. Or two, leaving a good amount of life insurance behind so your kids can build on that land. People nowadays, to build on land, it can run you anywhere from $100,000 to $400,000 to build on land, based on the type of land, based on the city. And it takes sometimes 3 to 6 months to build. But that's also a great way of making money if you guys really want to understand how the game works. You buy land, you build a house on it, then from there you sold it. You made $100,000, you do that twice a year, that's $200,000. Or you made $150,000, you do that twice a year, that's $300,000. Just because you built 2 houses for the year. And all you need really is a general contractor, a GC. You need to find a trustworthy, loyal GC that can walk you through what it takes to build a home. People, if you're not learning every day of your life, you're not growing. That's what I'm always doing. Right now, I'm learning for the first time. I'm in the middle of a process of learning how to build a home from the bottom up. I'm watching the whole process being done. It's a very slow process. This is my first home, witnessing how a home gets built from the bottom up. Yes, I've flipped many homes, but this is not the same thing. How do you build a home from the bottom up? Doing a survey, doing the whole process, understanding how to properly understand the encroachments, understand how this thing works. How do you build? How do you get art? Why do you need an architect? Why do you need an engineer? How much concrete do you need? What square footage should your door be? What square footage should the home be? What's going to be the layout? Who's going to design the home? People, these are things you got to understand. Do you have the right subcontractors? People, be smart about your life. If you're trying to win in life, invest into land. This is your boy from MentorMe.com. Shout out to all of you in my DM. Yes, I'm officially a broker in Broward County, Florida. I'm going to be opening up an office most likely in Los Olis. And I'm going to be teaching people how to sell real estate, not just houses. Remember, I focus more on commercial real estate, which is doing buildings. You know, at the end of the day, it's all my friends know now. And it's really up to them if they want to join in and come on in and come sell houses and come sell apartment buildings, multi-million dollar buildings. People, at the end of the day, you don't have to stop here. You don't have to just stop. But no matter if I'm selling houses or selling buildings, one thing I'm doing, I'm still buying properties. I'm still buying land. I'm still investing into real estate because I know that's where the money is. Majority of people that's in real estate can't make money because all they're focused on is selling a house to make a commission. People, if you don't take some of that commission and start buying land or start buying properties for yourself, you're never going to win, people. The goal of life is to be financially free and continuously invest into the world of real estate, especially the stock market. MentorMe.com is where Bobby. People, enjoy your weekend. I just thought I'd share with you guys some gems on the world of investing into land. How do you do it? Why do you do it? And the ending goal is simply this. People, just keep creating wealth. MentorMe.com.